Okay, we're live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Special session, May 13, 2020 at 3:35. Councilmember Bowman,
Here.
Councilmember Farrelletto,
Here.
Councilmember Gullumbeck,
Here.
Councilmember Nowakowski,
Here.
Council President Pridgen,
Here.
Majority Leader Rivera,
Present.
President Pro Tem Scanlon,
Present.
Councilmember Wingo,
Present.
Councilmember Wyatt.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Okay, from the top, please.
Item number 1, call for a special session.
Motion to receive and file.
Motion is to receive and file, seconded by Councilmember Nowakowski.
Item number 2, Buffalo Academy of Science Charter School renewal denial.
Motion is sent to the Education Committee.
Motion is to send to the Education Committee, seconded by Councilmember Wyatt. Is there anyone to speak, or are we going right to committee?
It goes right to committee.
Item number 3, amend rules of order, section 10.
Motion to adopt.
Mr.
Yeah, Councilmember Nowakowski.
I'm just going to speak really quickly. Thank you, Mr. Chair. A majority of members have come to a common consensus, the need to provide our council staff with the tools and expertise to effectively assist this council and its elected members to make sound decisions to better serve our constituents and that we are elected to serve. We have come together and identified the need to hire an attorney licensed to practice in the state of New York within our central staff. With identifying this need, we greatly understand the fiscal prudence needed in order to achieve this common goal during this time. That is why this position will only be filled through attrition, meaning we will only fill such position when vacancies occur within the central staff. That occurrence may happen down the road in future budgets and does not affect any position presently. This measure has been crafted to account for the times we are in and acknowledges the high esteem we hold for each and every one of our staffers who presently serve the council, in which I was a member of council staff before I was elected as a council member. So it's personal to me. It is within my purview that that we consider amending our council rules to reflect our priority and standards agreed upon, which best allow us to govern and assist this council and institution. With that, I would like to thank my colleagues for consideration of this item, and we're open to discuss and amend, and the discussion is open.
I had a quick question for Corporation Counsel. Karen, this is just a resolution, so it's just kind of a call to action. It's not, if something were to actually change our rules, we'd have to have something officially filed to vote on, right? To amend them, to go to rules?
Karen Gordon, Assistant Corporation Counsel. You're correct, it's just a resolution. The resolution usually we would ask for an action either on my part or my department part. And after that action has been taken, in this case would be to amend the actual rules of the council, then it would actually be effective. But for now, it's a resolution, it's a desire of the council.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yep, Councilmember Wingo.
I have a question for Corporation Counsel as well. Do we necessarily need to change the rules of the Common Council in order to hire an attorney? Is that necessary?
I think the necessity will be based on the interest of the council as a body. And by that, I mean the council can effectuate its intent, which is to have an attorney separate from my office through different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to go through this process. It could just be the way it hires in the future, that in the future it decides to hire an attorney for a position that's open. By putting it in the rules, however, I do believe it will be there forever. And if that's the intent of the council, then this would be one way to effectuate that.
So if the intent is, in fact, for us to hire an attorney forever, that's necessary to list in our rules.
asked, can you repeat that question again?
So I'm just making sure for clarification, in order for us to permanently have an attorney on staff and central staff, this has to be an amendment that we place in our rules.
I cannot say that for certain. I think that would be, based on the choice that a council makes as a body. The council can hire whoever it wants. The problem is that it cannot create a situation where it takes away the authority and power that's given by the charter from the corporation council's office. But it can hire an attorney from now till eternity anytime there's a vacancy. An attorney can be doing any, number of things under the council. They don't necessarily have to be doing what the corporation council's office does. But as I said, by putting it in the rules, it will be there, as part of the rules and regulation of the Common Council. As you know, rules and regulations can be changed anytime. So at any time it can be removed, it can be edited, or it can just not be acted on for whatever reason.
Okay. So just for the sake of all of the council members and for the sake of information, this would go to, we can send this to Ledge, ideally, so that we can have further discussion about this since it's a resolution, or do we have to send this to the Rules Committee?
This is a resolution, so it could be adopted. The resolves, if Tiana, probably Malcolm can put it up on the screen. If the resolves directs my office to amend the rules, then the rules would be amended. And then the rules amended would be sent to the Committee on Rules, and I guess the body would vote on it and make whatever choice it chooses then. But as a resolution, it's going to be adopted. So it'll be an adopted policy moving forward that the council is interested in and the council desires. But at the end of the day, the actual rules has to be amended, and this resolution does not actually amend the rules. You would have to go into the document and actually amend it.
So this basically essentially gives us the
authority to amend it.
Okay. And again, we don't have to amend the rules just to hire this position.
In my opinion, I think you have the authority to hire without necessarily amending the rule.
Okay.
Any other council members?
I just wanted to just opine quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I believe that we could adopt it now and then send the resolves to the Rules Committee, which would then have to hear this item. Because I think the genesis of where my head game was at when creating this legislation was knowing that we can empower the council, because we want to make decisions not only today, but we want to make decisions that will benefit the council 20 years from now when none of us are here. And by having that continuation of putting in our council rules, we will essentially assure that future councils, when they are seated, will be equipped with having somebody of that expertise to advise them to make sound decisions. That's where my genesis of my head game was at. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Council President.
and this is a very good question. I want to make sure that we move it to rules to get that done. Karen, could it be amended? I know normally if we were not in social distancing, could we amend it so that it goes directly to rules now? I mean, we're going to send it to rules anyway, but would there be any other amendments needed so that it had the priority of giving your office direction? I don't know could I be heard? I'm sorry. Everybody hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. Corporation Council.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
So normally we could amend it so that this action moves toward directing Corporation Council to do the draft of the amendment, do we need to amend this resolution? Normally, we could amend it on the floor by writing it, but because we are virtual, how would we make that amendment if we needed to?
Oh, I think it is fine to make the amendment on the floor right now. We can do that. You would have to, of course, say, I mean, as we're doing now, say out loud what the amendment would be, so that the actual item that gets its way to the Rules Committee would be the amended version of what we have in front of us now. And that's provided, of course, that everybody's in agreement with the amendment.
Could you give the sponsor what language would have to be amended now? What would we have to say in that language for immediate amendment?
I think I would say probably in part 2 that that the Common Council authorizes the Corporation Council to, I guess, amend the rules under Section 10 of the Rules on Committee to allow for the hiring of an attorney position in the future, something to that extent.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Council, just one second. Council President, were you finished?
No, I wasn't. Thank you.
Okay.
So that language that was just given by Corporation Council, and again, I can't see it. I apologize. I'm just wondering, Mr. Chair, whether the sponsor would accept that amendment as read or as said by our Corporation Council.
I do, as a sponsor.
Thank you. Now I'm finished.
Councilmember Wingo.
Yeah, I had a question for Council President. I had another question actually, regarding the language being proposed right now for such a serious position and serious discussion that we're having regarding, legal advice given to the Common Council and creating a new position. So, being that, even though the sponsor, agrees that the language is adequate, I guess that settles it. But for the most part, is there any sense of urgency as to why we want to send this immediately, or when do you anticipate, because you are the chair of the Rules Committee, when do you plan on having this meeting?
There is urgency because this is a part of our budget discussions. And I have to talk to colleagues to make sure I have enough people who would be able to attend. But that Rules Committee would be held sooner than later, and definitely before the adoption of the budget.
All right. Also, since we're going to move forward with this, then I guess the conversation is going to shift a little bit, only because I've already expressed in the past that I am not in agreement with hiring an individual and paying them $94,900 salary. I believe that would disrupt the administration that we already have in central staff. That individual would be making more than all 9 council members, the chief of staff, and the deputy chief of staff. Historically speaking, Corporation Counsel who are hired by Corporation Counsel, assistant Corporation Counsel who are hired by Corporation Counsel, they come in making $60,000 a year or so. And that is with municipal law experience. This individual comes in making $60,000. They accept that salary because that is the ideal salary of a person who would work in that particular area, until a certain time as they should be promoted or receive a COL raise, a cost of living raise, or whatever that percentage is going to be. If we're going to force this position and move it forward, I still need us to consider the fact that I asked a question before, that if we're going to use the attrition method, which is to wait for someone to leave or a position to be vacated, what is the urgency if we still have to wait for someone to leave their position? And then the other question is, which council member is going to be willing to give up their appointments so that we can fill this attorney position. Because this is going to literally take at least 1.5 or 2 positions to fund this position that's being proposed. I am against, and let me be very clear, I am against proposing any addition of any position for the Common Council that would increase the budget. If we use attrition, we still have to wait. So what's the urgency? I don't understand it. I need someone to help me understand what is the urgency if we're going to use attrition anyway for this year's budget. And we're fully staffed in central staff.
Mr. Chair.
I can quickly answer that.
Yeah,
And I'm glad
so-
that you are against increasing the budget, because that's why we did it this way, because there isn't a budget. There is no line item. There is no $90,000. It may be 70. We have no idea. We're talking about a position here, and we shifted the direction so that there would not be any cost at this time. So that's number one. So there is no 90,000. There is no 100,000. There is no money at all. If the majority in a few minutes votes to accept this, then as we go down the road, we will make some decisions. I want to be clear, because something came up before about council members losing staff. Council staff is not the office of individual council members. And so as we get ready to vote for this, I want to be sure that people understand there is no $90,000 job. That's why it is done this way, to make sure that we have the skill set that we need. We all appoint people. At the end of the day, we have to make some decisions based on the expertise that the council needs. It may not happen today, it may not happen this year, but it will be in our rules so that we have the goals of making sure that the second largest legislative body in the state of New York that is responsible for making laws has a lawyer. Mr. Chair, that's my last comment on this.
Well, I still need for that thought to be finished regarding the appointments that we all have in central staff. Who's going to be willing to give up their appointment so that this position can be funded?
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
I apologize, I was on mute there. I think Corporation Council, like they stated, this is not changing, this resolution wouldn't change anything today, correct? We would need something
That's
coming
correct.
down the road that would actually amend the rules. And in the interim, we could have a conversation about all those particulars, right?
Correct.
And I'm sorry, not everyone's on my screen. I'm not sure who that was asking the,
Councilmember Wyatt.
okay, Councilmember White?
There was a amendment. There was a first, and I want to second that amendment from Corporation Council.
You want to second the motion to adopt with as amended?
Yes, sir.
If there's no other speakers at this time, there, and question for the city clerk, because of the COVID situation, and everything, is this something we have to do a roll call vote, or is that just approvals?
It's approvals and it's to adopt. So just say adopt as amended.
Yep.
And then to get a second, we should be fine.
Okay. So the motion to approve is from Councilmember, who made the motion to approve or adopt? I apologize.
Councilmember Wyatt.
Councilmember Noakowski made the motion.
Councilmember Minnokowski made the motion to adopt, and that is seconded by Councilmember Wyatt. Anything else?
Seconded as amended, right?
Yes.
Yes. Motion was to adopt by as amended by Councilmember Noakowski and seconded by Councilmember Wyatt. Anything else? Okay, next item.
That's it.
Sorry,
Majority-
I'm on mute. Item number 4, adjournment.
Motion adjourned by Councilmember Rivera, seconded by Councilmember Bowman.
Thank you.
Thank you.